And very importantly, we got our last hostage back, which is incredible. Unfortunately, this was something that nobody said could be done. And I will tell you, Hamas was a big factor in getting all of the hostages.
Live from Michigan Avenue, this is Good Day Chicago.
Good morning and welcome to Good Day Chicago. I'm Gabriela Primus.
I'm Brian Jackson. Thanks for joining us on this Friday morning. Here's a look at some of the stories we're following.
We're learning new details in the case against a 19-year-old man accused of killing a pregnant woman in Downers Grove.
A deal to avert a partial government shutdown goes south after passage was delayed on Capitol Hill.
And taking a live look outside, it's clear for now, but later today we'll see lake effect snow come through the Chicago area. Good morning to you, Mike Kaplan. And if I remember right, are we seeing kind of like two waves of this?
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it. Indeed, there will be, I think, a couple of distinct waves. The first of which is going to hit this morning in the early afternoon hours. It shows up on radar. It's still out over the lake, but it is moving to the west now. I think later this morning we're going to start to see that snow moving in. Temperature-wise, here's where we are. It's another cold start. 4 below at Aurora, 2 below at Morris. Even Joliet is 3 below zero. 6 at the lakefront, though, where that snow is going to start here in a few hours. 10 at Waukegan and 3 at Merrillville. That lake effect snow is going to be moving in here later this morning and continue off and on through the day. Could be some brief bursts of very intense snow. So stay up to date with the latest forecast. Lake effect snow is always very tricky. You can be driving down the road a few feet ahead of you. Everything looks good, and then all of a sudden you drive into a wall of white. So be extra cautious today. Back to you.
Now to a developing story this morning. The U.S. is headed towards a partial government shutdown. Lawmakers in D.C. failed to pass a deal between Senate Democrats and President Donald Trump. The deal would have separated Homeland Security funding from a larger spending bill and fund the U.S. government for about 2 more weeks. Lawmakers will try again later this morning to reach a compromise. The deadline to avert a shutdown is tonight at midnight. A shutdown would mean that non-essential federal employees would be furloughed and essential employees would have to work without pay. Back here at home, prosecutors are seeking life in prison for the 19-year-old accused of killing a woman who was 5 months pregnant.
Yeah, we've been following this story for the last couple of days, and the craziest part, it all stemmed from a sale on Facebook Marketplace. Prosecutors say Nitas Ravukas stabbed 30-year-old Eliza Morales with a screwdriver about 70 times, then set her on fire. The attack happened Monday evening in Downers Grove. According to police, Ravukas was angry about the condition of the truck and attacked Morales. Investigators say the fire was intentionally set to hide the evidence.
You know, as a police chief, this is the worst call that you can get. And, you know, immediately once we started determining the circumstances that were involved here, we knew that our top priority was to solve this case. And as we began to develop information quickly and urgently, I could tell that somebody was looking over us. Somebody was helping us with this case.
Ravukas is facing multiple charges, including first-degree murder. He will remain in custody at the DuPage County Jail. His arraignment has been set for February 19th.
And amid these frigid temperatures, a Park Forest apartment complex is under fire after some residents say that they have no heat.
And it's not the first time residents have reported issues. The village has even gone as far as to condemn one of those buildings. Casey Cronus follows up on the residents' plea for help.
Last summer, residents went weeks without air conditioning in the sweltering heat. Now, some say they are facing unsafe conditions again, only this time in a different season. In Illinois, residential properties must provide adequate heat beginning October 1st through May 31st. But some Autumn Ridge residents say they are dealing with unbearable temperatures in their own units. One man claims he hasn't had heat all winter, even alleging his dog died because of it.
Received a call from the gentleman that lost his service pet, but this is just one of the many. I've had multiple calls throughout the week. It's one thing to go without air conditions in the summer. You can almost deal with that, but in the wintertime, it's unbearable.
Only heat that I've had is what I've tried to provide myself from the stove and buying heaters but I can't even plug the heaters up because the electrical is so much of a fire hazard.
The Village of Park Forest confirms they are aware that multiple tenants have complained about the lack of heat. Village officials even telling us one of the complex's main buildings was condemned last Friday for failing to provide heat. They say they ordered the property owner to move those residents into hotels. So far, tenants from at least 17 units have been relocated. The apartment complex has not provided an official statement, but confirms they have been putting residents who are without heat into other accommodations.
They shouldn't have to live like this. In a complex that receives federal funding, this is supposed to be, you know, a place where it's affordable and in living conditions.
That's why I haven't been giving them the rent money, because the money that I have had, I used, you know, for hotels and Airbnbs because it's so cold.
Even if they owe money in rent, there is a process that has to take place.
The Village is also sharing that because of the ongoing issues at the complex stemming from last summer, they have been trying to force the sale of Autumn Ridge to a new owner and are hopeful that sale will go through in the next month. Reporting in Park Forest, Casey Cronus, Fox Chicago.
We're learning new information about a house fire explosion in Oswego. Early indications show a gas leak may be the cause of this explosion. It happened along Fox Chase Drive around 6 p.m. on Thursday. NICOR is currently investigating the incident. In Joliet, investigators are looking into a massive building fire. Sky Fox flew over the scene along Southeastern Avenue. You can see the flames only left some of the walls left standing. Crews responded to reports of a building fire around 2:19 Thursday afternoon. 4 to 5 people were reportedly trapped inside. When crews arrived, all of them were outside of the building. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. The cause of that fire is still under investigation.
The former Illinois sheriff's deputy who pulled the trigger in the deadly shooting of Sonia Massey is sentenced to 20 years in prison. 31-year-old Sean Grayson was convicted of killing her in October. He apologized during the sentencing, saying he wished he could bring Massey back and spare her family the pain. In July of 2024, Massey called 911 for help. Body camera footage showed Massey moving a pot off the stove. The situation escalated and Grayson shot her. A hearing is set for March 6 for an appeal. The case sparked outrage, a $10 million settlement, and reforms in police training and hiring transparency.
Former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel is ordered to testify in a civil case related to a police raid. Court documents show that Chicago police raided a home in the Back of the Yards neighborhood in August of 2018. The lawsuit says SWAT officers executed a warrant at the wrong apartment, holding assault rifles at close range towards children and forcing their grandmother to stand outside without pants on. The family is now suing the city of Chicago and the police officers involved.
All right, 4:37 now. It looks like the Chicago Bears front office is going through a little bit of a shakeup.
Mike joins us now. Ian Cunningham finally getting a shot at being an NFL GM.
Yeah, we kind of saw this coming. The Atlanta Falcons have indeed confirmed they've hired the Bears assistant GM for their general manager position. Cunningham interviewed for that job opening twice. The first interview was on January 23rd. The second one yesterday. The Falcons made their decision quickly, though, after that second interview. He's going to be working alongside new Falcons head coach Kevin Stefanski and former Falcons star QB Matt Ryan. He's going to serve as the team's president of football because Cunningham will work under Matt Ryan, who's expected to be the top decision maker in Atlanta. The Bears will not receive any compensatory picks. All right, the Bears' first-team All-Pro left guard Joe Thuney is a finalist for the Protector of the Year award. It goes to the league's best offensive lineman. Thuney, who is a 4-time Super Bowl champion and Bears team captain, was part of an O-line that generated the third best rushing offense last year. They also cut down the number of sacks from 68 to just 24 this year. The winner is going to be announced at the NFL Honors. Now to some men's college hoops, the Fighting Illini. They dispatched Washington. Second half, Illini up by 5 when Zvonimir Ivisic gets the ball and throws it down. Illinois up 7 with just over a minute remaining in the game. Keaton Wagler buries the deep three-pointer. He finished with 22. The Illini cruise 75-66. Northwestern also gets a nice win at home. Second half, Wildcats are up by 9 when Penn State turns it over. Angelo Chiaravino throws it down on the other end. Northwestern is up by 11. Later in the second, Jake West inbounds to Nick Martinelli, who gets the layup and the foul. Martinelli, great night here, matches his career high with 34. Northwestern wins easily, 94-73. Not as good news in the NBA. The Bulls lose another close game to their hated foe. It seems they always play in the play-in. It's the Miami Heat. Fourth quarter, Miami up by 8. Drew Smith lobs it to Bam Adebayo, who throws it in. Heat up now by 10. Minute left. Bulls down by 5. Nikola Vucevic spins, get in the paint, and gets the shot to fall. Bulls are now only down by 3. 7.1 seconds left. Bulls down only by 1. The inbounds. Pelle Larsson gets open underneath, puts it in. Bulls had one more chance with Kobe White, but you're going to see it's off the mark as time expires. 116-113. The Bulls go down. And not much better on the ice. The Blackhawks really struggle against the Pens in Pittsburgh. Very hot Pittsburgh team. Second period, Anthony Mantha gets it to Ben Kindle. He shoots and scores. Later in the second, Evgeny Malkin does the spin, passes it to Igor Chinnikov, who scores on the wrister. Pittsburgh will continue to tack on goals in the game. The Hawks lose 6-2, and the Pens have now won 5 games in a row. Sox Fest is set to return to the Ramova Theater this weekend. Players such as Colson Montgomery, Luis Robert Jr., and Miguel Vargas will be there. Members of the White Sox front office and some prospects will also be at Sox Fest. This comes as the 2026 baseball season is about to get underway. White Sox pitchers and catchers report to Camelback Ranch in less than 2 weeks, and it will be warmer there. Is Luis Robert really going to be there? He just got traded. That's interesting. Maybe he's going to make an appearance before he heads over to the Mets. All right, let's see the cloud cover there. That is our live shot from Shedd Aquarium looking back at the city. No snow yet, but it is coming. They have a variety of warnings, watches, and advisories, and the winter storm warning, Lake and Porter County, goes into effect at 3 o'clock and lasts until 6 o'clock tomorrow. Then we go to this kind of light green-blue area. That's a winter storm watch for most of Cook County, including the city. That will either go to an advisory or a warning. And then in purple, that's a winter weather advisory. It includes northern Cook, Lake, DuPage, and also southern Cook County. Lesser snowfall amounts in the advisory area expected. So lake effect snow is going to be westbound, moving in here maybe just a touch later than it looks, so this may really spare the first half of the morning commute. 10 o'clock, snowing across a good portion of the area, and this will go pretty far to the west, setting up, maybe a ½ inch to 3 inches of total accumulation during the morning. And then here comes that second wave of snow, 8 o'clock passing through the city, and then it's going to focus in northwest Indiana, and that's where the snow may come down the most heavily. During the day tomorrow, that snow could slosh back toward the city, but still focusing mainly kind of east of I-57 into northwest Indiana before the whole thing starts to wind down tomorrow evening. I really expect the heaviest accumulations, maybe a 6 to 12 for you there in Lake and Porter County. Generally speaking, most of Chicagoland is going to get between a ½ inch and 3 inches, but there should be some higher totals very close to the lakefront. Sunday, fairly quiet, maybe a few flurries coming in at night. 18 today with lake effect snow. Lake effect snow continues tonight, especially in northwest Indiana, where more than 6 inches will be likely. Travel conditions are really going to be dicey here from late morning on. It won't be horrible the whole time wherever you happen to be, but be prepared for some really difficult travel later on.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Well, coming up on Good Day, President Trump files a lawsuit against 2 U.S. government agencies.
What claims he's made against the IRS when we come back.
Fox 32.
We have some breaking news in our top stories. We've learned that 2 people were killed in a house explosion in Oswego. Fire officials say the 2 were found after a search of the debris. The explosion and fire happened along Fox Chase Drive around 6 p.m. Thursday. Officials say gas was burning. NICOR was able to stop the gas supply and is investigating what happened. Our Roseanne Tellez is headed to Oswego and will have a live report coming up at 5:30.
Also following a developing story, the U.S. is headed towards a partial government shutdown. Lawmakers in D.C. failed to pass a deal between Senate Democrats and President Trump. The deal would have separated Homeland Security funding from a larger spending bill and fund the U.S. government for about 2 more weeks. Now, the vote is expected later this morning.
Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham is on the move. He's been hired as the Atlanta Falcons' new general manager. He'll be working alongside new Falcons head coach and former Falcons star QB Matt Ryan, who will serve as the team's president of football.
President Donald Trump and members of his family are suing the IRS and the Treasury Department for allegedly leaking their confidential tax information. They're asking for at least $10 billion in the lawsuit, which was filed in Miami federal courts. They claim the IRS allowed former contractor Charles Littlejohn to leak the confidential information to the New York Times, ProPublica, and other news outlets. Among the president's family members involved in the lawsuit include Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump.
President Trump is expected to pick the next Federal Reserve chair sometime today. Multiple reports say the president is selecting former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Warsh for the job. He's expected to replace Jerome Powell once his term ends in May. Powell was selected by Trump to lead the Fed during his first term in office. He has since called for his ouster over disagreements on interest rate cuts. Some White House officials say the pick is not yet confirmed.
Well, a man is facing charges after officials in New York City say that he posed as an FBI agent to try and break Luigi Mangione out of prison. A court filing says Mark Anderson was arrested at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn on Wednesday. Investigators say that he claimed he was an FBI agent with court orders to release Mangione, who is awaiting trial for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Anderson was taken into custody after he was asked to show credentials. He also claimed that he was in possession of weapons.
American Airlines will resume its flights to Venezuela. American says it's planning to resume daily service to the country following government approval and security assessments. This comes weeks after the U.S. military captured the country's leader, Nicolas Maduro. President Trump has also reportedly asked the Transportation Department to lift the restrictions that currently prevent U.S. flights to Venezuela.
Time now, 4:49 this morning. Another cold start. And, Mike, we even got some lake effect snow on the way.
Yes, it's going to move in here later this morning, Brian and Gabby. We have likelihood of some significant accumulations along the lake and especially in northwest Indiana. This is all tied to what the wind direction is going to be. And it's going to be varying here for the next couple of days. We will be talking about and showing you lake effect snow from today right on through tomorrow evening, and it obviously isn't going to be hitting the exact same spots during that entire time, which will kind of, tamper down some of the snowfall totals. But that lake effect snow, I really think, is going to be focused primarily in northwest Indiana. You see that warm front sailing through? That'll get us into the 20s here over the weekend. There's a small chance for a little light snow coming through here Sunday night into Monday. That's not a big deal. The main snow event's this lake effect. We'll hit 18 today. Winds will vary from northwest to northeast at fairly light speeds. I think most of the area gets between a ½ inch of snow and 3 inches by afternoon. We're not done yet. Another wave of lake effect snow, this one perhaps a little bit more narrow and focused city and point south into northwest Indiana. That's going to lay down the heavier snow late this afternoon into this evening. We'll have a low of 10, and I think those of you in northwest Indiana, parts of Lake and Porter County, you're going to get more than 6 inches of snow out of this, and somebody may even get a foot. 22 tomorrow. Lake effect snow continues, and it may come back towards the city at some point in a less intense mode. Sunday night, you get a little bit of light snow. We'll have a high of 28 degrees on Monday. At least the temperatures pointed in a better direction than what we've seen lately. A couple of days may even hit 30 next week with some light snow possible on Wednesday. Back to you.
At least. Thank you, Mike.
Well, coming up, you're going to see him in the next Avengers movie, but a few lucky folks got to see him in person here in Chicago.
We have the details about Ian McKellen's visit right after this break.
greatest Barca loungers of all time.
Welcome back. Some star power stopped in the Windy City for a good cause.
Gandalf, crying aloud, smote the bridge before him. You shall not pass!
You may know him. Sir Ian McKellen took the stage at the Chicago Shakespeare Theater Thursday night. He shared stories from his 60-year career. The event benefits more than 600 Chicago area students and teachers. Jake Hamilton will have more on his visit to Chicago later on this morning on Good Day.
Well, an exciting update from the Brookfield Zoo Chicago regarding its polar bears. Zookeepers recently introduced Hudson and newcomer Amelia Gray for the first time. So far, it's going pretty great. The animal care team says that they saw positive calm behavior from the bears. This is important because the introduction allows research to observe the bears' social interactions.
They're going to like this weather. Bruno Mars is breaking records before he even hits a stage. His upcoming romantic tour sold a whopping 2.1 million tickets in just a single day. That's the most ever in Live Nation history. The tour launches this spring with 2 stops scheduled this May at Soldier Field. They had to up it to 2 days. Tickets are on sale right now.
Has us thinking about summer, Mike Kaplan, because it feels far off right now.
I know it does. It's been so cold lately, and now we've got more snow on the way. Currently, the snow is over Lake Michigan. It is indeed lake effect snow. Why don't we take a look at it here on the radar? And again, I'm using a color bank here, how I've got the colors on the screen, that reflect where the heaviest snow is showing up in green. That doesn't mean that that's rain. No, a lot of times green is rain, blue is snow. In this case, I'm just trying to show you where the heaviest snow is. And interestingly, there may actually be some snow that gets you in northwest Indiana first this morning, and then it will shift over to the Illinois side. This would, I think, be a brief intrusion of snow in Indiana. You're going to get the heaviest stuff coming in here later this evening. All right, a variety of weather alerts in place. In the pink, that's winter storm warnings. They'll go in effect at 3 this afternoon and last until 6 tomorrow evening. It's a long duration for you in Lake and Porter County. It won't be snowing all the time, but you're going to have the greatest travel impacts there. In the city of Chicago, that's a winter storm watch. Weather Service still reluctant. Should we put out a warning? Should we go with an advisory? They haven't decided yet. So right now they're going to go with a watch. That is going to change. In purple, DuPage, Northern Cook, Lake and Southern Cook County, or Eastern Will County, that is where we have a winter weather advisory that will be in effect in some areas until noon tomorrow. For the majority of Chicagoland, this is going to expire this evening. This is where lighter snow totals are likely, but still enough to impact travel. So you got to be careful. 18 for the high today. Lake effect snow moves in. The majority of the area is going to be in that 1/2 to 3 inch range of snow, with, obviously not everybody getting in on the act. It is later tonight that the snowfall intensity ramps up, especially in northwest Indiana, but there will be some impacts in the city during the late portion of the rush hour. Our low tonight down to 10 degrees. We'll be right back with more of Good Day after this.
Multiple brands of products sold in grocery stores are being recalled due to a presence of rodent waste. This includes Cheerios, Skittles, Pringles, Advil, Benadryl, Claritin, Purina dog and cat chow. The products were distributed in 3 states, including Indiana. The FDA is urging people to destroy the affected products and to not return them.
Hey, that's a lot of stuff. A new Carfax report is raising concerns over the safety of children car seats. Carfax says nearly 1 million vehicles nationwide